literal inversion.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But this is not about flipping in things inside out.
Oh.
You know how you take a picture of something? And
How you doing, Bloodaxe?
I'm tired, bro.
All right. We coming through clear to you now?
I'm not breaking up anymore.
All right, good.
I mean, the whole screen paused and I didn't hear anything, and then it just was cracky and staticky. And
Yeah, it was probably all the trailer noise. You mind closing the door? No.
watching those bootleg trailers of crappy shows coming up.
Yeah.
Hey, that trailer was colorful and flashy, and the special effects were massively improved.
All righty. Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Xenodamus. I'm here with...
I can feel your pain. I can literally feel it. Q.
And on Skype...
We have Bloodaxe.
I'm so sorry. I know you're hurting. I can feel... There's a lot that can hurt this man, but that trailer caused you physical pain.
Anyway, but I wanted to share that pain with you because, you know, I thought, even though you're not a fan...
Well,
it was... You had some of it sprinkled into your childhood enough for it to be painful.
He is the first black doctor, and he is really hamming it up, man.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some other stuff. That's old news.
Mr. Days of serious actors, man. Why couldn't we have got us?
I know.
The Denzel or
Well, we all know who we want.
Portier or somebody. Oh, yeah, well, obviously, Idris Elba would be amazing.
Yeah.
I'd have taken Wesley Snipes, man. I don't know. At this point, I would have preferred Kevin Hart. I don't know.
You probably would have
At least
taken
he's
Bill
a
Cosby.
comedian. He's funny. Cat Williams would have been a real good one. Cat Williams made it funny. Yeah.
Come out of the TARDIS in a big fur coat.
What's up now? We about to go through time. Yeah, you know.
All righty, let's get started. First, we're going to go ahead and knock out the topic that Bloodaxe doesn't care about.
Yeah, let's do it like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, we'll just go and rip that Band-Aid. And that is Solo Leveling has announced, has confirmed Season 2. Yesterday was the Season 1 finale. And on that same day, they did confirm Season 2. There is no date, though. So, but it is in production.
This is an anime that has what you'd expect from an anime like this. Both high rises, an amazing mid-season controversy of like, hey, let's do a recap episode. But then followed up by like one of the most amazing, like just a boomer episode that we were sitting there going like, wow, that episode was incredible. So we're loving it. The build up to everything we wanted to see is definitely en route. This has been a great anime. And you know what? The controversy to me is just one of those things of like, yeah, you know what? You need that. You almost need that little bit of trouble just to keep, this is part of the growing pains of, they skipped the episode and then they made a dumb decision. Because if that's the worst thing we have to go through, I can live with that. That's way better than them actually screwing up a genuine episode.
Yeah. But, I mean, once again, like I said, I mean, they are milking this for everything they got to the point of releasing just a video to say Season 2 confirmed. Like, most places just release a news article or something, but no.
No, they animated a 40-second video.
But we did a 40-second video to go.
Season 2 confirmed.
Season 2 confirmed.
How many views can we get out of this?
Yeah.
I'm still
Crunchyroll is
waiting
right.
for an anime you guys suggest that I will actually like.
I mean, it's a good one. I can't say just like your taste surprised me frequently. Like when it comes to like what you like to watch.
A video one day old, just to say Solo Leveling 2 is confirmed, is almost up to 1 million views.
So they're milking it successfully. I mean, that's all I can say. Like 975,000 views says they're not wrong. So hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
2,643 comments says 44K likes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're right. You know, they're right. So there you go. So we've been following it. We're loving it. We haven't watched this one. We do ours or watch it on Friday. So we'll be watching the finale.
Well, we'll actually be out of town
week after
Friday.
next Friday. But I mean, the build up was good. We're expecting this is going to be a good episode. We're looking forward to it.
I'm just going to warn anybody at CypherCon.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Hey,
No, actually, I mean, we know what happens. There's not really any spoilers.
We
there.
watch too much anime and not know what they're building up to.
Yeah, we've all read the manga, so we know exactly where it's going to cut off. It's
Oh, yeah, we read the whole manga, so and we already know what we were literally going like he's gonna say it.
Yeah,
like, we were already like he's never gonna say it at the end of the. He's gonna say it. He's never gonna say it. We're just wondering what's gonna look like. We're like we think how they gonna say it? They're gonna resonate it. So don't tell us. We're just waiting to see how they're gonna perform it. But we're waiting to see how it's done.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, that's it. So 11 season 2 confirmed. Check it out. Honestly, Blood, I think you would like this anime.
Think so.
I don't know his attention span, man.
Nah. Now, I'd probably wait for season 2 to get done so you can get a good
Oh yeah, so you can flow through.
flow through it. But I think you would like this one.
I really, if he stuck with it, I think he would. But I've seen him check out his stuff, man, like 5 minutes in, man. Like I literally, he's trying to game, and man, he's like, oh man, I turned it off. I'll be like, how far you got? He's like, I didn't leave the starting room, and I'm like, God dang.
I know.
So, I don't know. Because what was that you tried recently that you didn't even get past, like, the intro?
I tried to follow up last weekend. I was like, I got to the city, I talked to the robot, I turned it off, and he's like, you didn't talk to the people? I'm like, no.
Yeah, what game was that? Yeah, Fallout. Yeah, he started Fallout. He didn't even start the game barely.
He started No Man's Sky, didn't even get his first ship.
No, did you hear what he got on Fallout? He got to the robot.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. He literally went back to his house, talked to the robot, quit. I'm like, he didn't even do anything. He didn't even go to Concord.
And I got bored going through all the empty houses. I'm like, this is boring.
You didn't start the game.
I re-downloaded it and we finished the houses, and then I re-deleted it again. I'm like,
So he literally never left the area. He literally started the game, and it's like, all right, it's time to set out. And he said, nope, I'm not setting out. So he never got his dog. He didn't even get his dog.
No. I got the dog at the gas station. You're right.
Okay, then. At least you got the dog.
I mean, he started No Man's Sky and didn't get a spaceship.
Because I died.
We're not even talking about Wolong. We're not even talking about Wolong. He didn't get out a tutorial of Wolong.
Everything, click by click, step by step. No Man's Sky drops you in with a butter knife and some underwear and says, "Here, survive on Mars." I'm like,
yes, it's awesome.
Dude, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? You're supposed to die. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go die.
I
now.
did restart my game because I was actually curious about that, and I don't know if he was just bugged or what. But I had step-by-step instructions on how to survive on Mars. I mean,
they literally call the quest after you go get the people and bring them back to Sanctuary, and they teach you how to build a settlement. The first steps. He did not make it to.
So
you're
stuck on Fallout. I'm stuck on No Man's Sky. I will say No Man's Sky just came out with the Omega thing. It ended, and they dropped another major update like a week after, and so like I was about to get Dragon's Dogma because I'd finished the update, and they just dropped another, and I was just like, you bastards. So
you're saying No Man's Sky is worth playing now?
I thought it was worth playing when you played it.
I always thought it was worth playing.
I have finally started Power World. That one's interesting. Although we'll have to say it's the lack of ore is getting to be a pain in the butt.
There's tricks to that. Yeah, you got to set your base up at the right spot to solve that problem. You
only get one base.
I know. That's why you got to set your first one up on top of a place that has ore.
No, I'm asking. You only get one, or do you?
Oh, no,
get
as
more?
you
As you level
upgrade-
up, you can make more.
Yeah, as you upgrade your base, you get, I think, 3 or 4.
Three.
3.
But if you set your first one up on top of a spot that has ore, you can always farm the ore and it'll respawn.
Well, there's like 3 nodes that I run back and forth to from, but that's been my biggest problem is ore.
Yeah, that'll be the one. But yeah, but like I said, and that's the thing, like solo leveling is great, but one of the advantages we had is that we know it gets good. So patience isn't an issue for us. You do need to think about that, Wells, that we know that it gets good. Like if I was sitting watching solo leveling, I don't know how I would have consumed it.
There's 1 or 2 slow episodes, but generally it's moving forward.
True, I also have watched enough of that, but he's not an anime fan, so the pacing, he's not used to the pacing.
Yeah, well, I mean, is he not an anime fan because of the Are you not an anime fan because of the pacing, or are you not an anime fan because of the content?
Well, number one, I'm not as big into Asian culture as you guys are, so the whole Japanese thing, I'm not a big fan of. I don't get it. But number two, a lot of the good animes that came out earlier on, I was in college at the time, so it wasn't during my formative years.
This is also a modern era anime. So
well, I mean, even Batman animated series was when I was in college, and I barely caught some of it, and I liked it. It was fine, but a lot of the anime back then was really kind of underground. You had to like get copies from other people and stuff. So, or it was cartoons, So it's just one of those things that I just never got into.
Yeah.
Now you find me something like that's got mechs in it and stuff, I'm on board, but. Because that content would keep my interest, which is why I enjoyed Voltron back in the day. But now there was one y'all were talking about how to become a demon lord or something, where that sounded interesting a couple of years ago, but I can't remember what that one is now.
I don't know. We'll sit down with you at some point, man. We got to get you interested in some of these, but just say
we'll give it a try and see what happens.
It's you're gonna be our pet project in anime,
Yeah, I need to make another trip up to Jackson. Maybe we can figure something out then.
Yeah.
We just sit down and try it when he comes up to visit. That's a good idea, because then we can just lock him in a room and see if we could see how long it takes him to break the door down.
All right.
I just order some pizzas and get some bourbon, and we'll sit and watch whatever.
Yeah. We can throw some burgers on the grill or something.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What do we want to talk about next? Do we want to talk about Suicide Squad? Do we want to talk about Xbox?
Pull that Band-Aid off too, because the others are kind of a flow. Suicide Squad's the odd man out, so we can knock it out. Just to comment on that, because we talked about Suicide Squad killed Justice League before. Well, the update is here.
So apparently, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's new Joker is here, and a lot of players find him lacking. I watched all the cutscenes, me and Q did, and I will say it was pretty dry. And this fool here keeps talking about this being the Arkham world or whatever. I don't believe it. There's nothing that resembles the Arkham world, so... With it being just a duller, boring world that has crap characters, this just falls in line for me. I'm like, what's the news?
And this fool here doesn't want to accept the reality, which I understand, because I know there is no Dragon Ball Evolution movie, so I understand. I get it, but there's a little more to it too. Like they already had done one of their patch updates. They started to season 1. And it does not really solve any of the problems in general. The season 1, but I mean, it's literally there. They sorry, buddy, that they literally cover the death of the Joker as it happened in the Arkham games.
Yeah, I don't know. They crossed some weird boundaries there. But I'm assuming multiple dimensions.
And basically. This Joker is definitely not the Arkham Joker, though. In his presentation, he's dull. This is not the Mark Hamill Joker. It feels closer to Jared Leto Joker. he just doesn't land his jokes. Worst of all, he really doesn't even look like him. I mean, it is definitely their interpretation. And now he is right that he fits in with this Justice League game. He is not funny, not really well executed, and it just doesn't land. It's unfortunate. It just doesn't land. Like most of the characters, most of it just, yep, see? Now what's that? That look familiar? That look real familiar, don't it?
Yeah, I mean, those are two different people, though. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, look at that.
You know,
that's
not the start of the
person.
Arkham game, baby. That is the start of the Arkham game. But
so there's obviously some weird interdimensional shenanigans.
Denial's a hell of a drug. But and
like that's not even the same Harley. I mean, look, they don't even look anything alike.
And what's worse is when he gets introduced, it like there's no reaction between Harley and him barely at all. They really are just. They're not even trying here, man. It is a dry.
I think what's going on here is he is actually in the game studio that created the Arkham game, and
so they're walking through a better game.
Yeah, they're walking through a better game.
And it's just, and I will admit that it is sad because if you are a fan of those games, you are walking through the game you wish you were playing. And this right here is a mockery to see like this terrible Joker next to the much better story performance. And it's just a slap in the face. That is a slap. Yeah. Like, that is just pain incarnate. And look, even he's just looking like, man, that
I look
sucks,
cooler there.
Right? Yeah, like, wow, they're not so much better than what you're playing right now. And it's just it's almost a crime, man. And then the Wayne. So, I mean, yeah. But it's a fail, but it's also not a surprise. Everyone knew that he wasn't going to be well done, and he's not. First thing he does is get dressed down by Amanda Waller, which, we let you know, we both know that Mark Hamill's Joker would have shot her in the face immediately because when she's talking crap to him, he's armed. And he doesn't have a bomb in his head. So, what? You saw the scene.
Yeah.
So the first thing that happened, she would have said, shut up, and it should have been, blam, because Joker would do that immediately. He would immediately have shot her in the face.
Well, he did shoot a bunch of them.
He didn't kill any of them, and he didn't shoot Amanda Waller. Yeah. But he would have done that. He would have, that's the thing. Why would he have reminded them he had a gun? He would have waited, said, Mandy, how you doing? Shut up. Oh, you're right. Blam. You should have took my gun. Because he would have shot Amanda Waller in the face.
But yeah.
Because he's a
obviously,
plotter.
like I said, this is it's like, you remember that old show, The Dark Side? You know, it's like it's similar, but it's just a little worse. You know?
Yeah. So it's a fail, but more importantly, they are sticking with it. The boss fight for Brainiac in this one is just the Green Lantern fight again. So they're sticking to their guns. It is just going to be a lame repeat of the boss fights you already did. Each boss fight for Brainiac is just going to be the Justice League fight repeated. They're not being in the slightest bit original. You wasted your damn money on this game. This is going to be terrible at every institute. I'm shocked they're following through on it. They honestly ought to just refund everybody's money and call it a day. I don't know how this got made, but I feel so bad. I didn't get screwed this bad on Dragon's Dogma 2. I've been enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2, and at least Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm not fighting. I am doing something different than I did in Dragon's Dogma 1 compared to this. So it's wild, man. So yeah, it is. It was what everybody thought it would be. It's not. I mean, he doesn't play different than any of the other characters. It's a skin, pretty much. He runs around, he shoots. He has no different real abilities. All the characters are just running around and shooting stuff. And he's not funny. They didn't do anything special with him and Harley because that would have took effort. She practically ignores his existence. There's almost no direct dialogue between the two. Now, tell me, Bloodaxe, is that not crazy that the Joker and Harley don't even talk to each other?
That is wild. I mean, one of the more interesting dynamics in the DC universe is the Harley Quinn Joker relationship,
The
and
most
how that changes depending on which story's being told at that time. But there's even when I was playing, it was like a Batman Telltale games. I played it through a couple of times so I could change the way the dynamics worked with the relationship with Batman and Harley. So the fact that there's no special dialogue or anything, or um, no acknowledgement.
well, no
Really,
extensive
you don't know
dialogue.
you don't know your subject matter at all, and you don't really care.
Like I said, no
Uh,
extensive dialogue, no more than any other character, and you would have thought that would have been an extended scene.
You can see on the Steam charts it didn't bring back that many players. I mean, you had a game that never really hit that high anyway at 13,000 peak, that dropped off quickly and then got a slight bump and then
And
dropped back
remember,
off
that's
really
not
quickly.
just a new character, that's the new season. So Joker plus the new season
Yeah.
only managed to cause that jump. That's bad. The new season and the Joker himself caused a ridiculously small bump in players. And you see it is already going right back down. That's the sad part, is how it is already. That drop is fast. That drop is fast enough that it looks like it won't take, that by the end of next week, it will probably be back down again. So there you go. So, I mean, it's a fail. It's a fail. And they don't have another big enough character. Who's as big as a Joker? Who's as big as a Joker they can pull out that will even be able to get that big a jump? I can't think of any character in DC they could bring back other than, I don't know, evil Batman. I don't even know, because it's the bad guys. What bad guy could they add to the roster that could get them a bigger bump than Joker? Try. I mean, I'm being serious. Could y'all name a bad guy you think could have that kind of pull, that would pull bigger than the Joker? I can't think of any.
No, I mean, the Joker's always been usually your biggest pull on these things, you know? I mean,
yeah, I'm like, Scarecrow? No, he's not going to pull that big. Yeah.
Penguin
no.
would. I mean, the Riddler was always interesting, but I mean, that's more a Batman centric thing than it will be for Suicide Squad. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any villain that would use a gun, especially, that they could pull that has the pull. I mean, Deathstroke's kind of popular and people wanted Deathstroke, but I don't think he's got anywhere near the cross appeal of Joker. More people know Joker than friggin' Deathstroke.
Yeah, and Flynn's kind of going where I was thinking originally was the Lex Luthor, but he took it a step further in the power suit. But I don't even know if there's enough people who know what Lex Luthor is to cause that big of a bump. Everybody knows Joker. Lex Luthor is kind of like your.
No, they can't, because
Yeah.
Lex Luthor's part of the main story, and he's clearly doing something strange. There was a scene at the end of the game that implies something's going on there, which means you can't make him playable, because there's implication he's behind something. So he's integral to the story right now. So they literally can't do that. I've actually watched all the cutscenes, so they literally can't do that. Plus, in a power suit, he wouldn't need to use a gun. Now, in his normal clothes, it'd be funny.
It'd be fun.
It'd be ridiculous. Got big power armor on. Use a shotgun.
oh, all right.
You know what? I know who. I want to play as Pa Kent. I want to play as Martha. I want to play as Martha. It's Martha Kent. There's something just off the wall.
All righty. So,
Little old lady.
Gearbox. Oh. Gearbox Entertainment has officially been sold off by Embracer. We've been talking about this for a while and keeping an eye now. They did have a big layoff right hours before the sale was finished. So more devs. Of course, Larian may have a solution for that. Go talk to them if you're one of the. But
not a dev. It's not a dev. You got to be something else.
But no. So they've been sold to Take-Two Interactive. This is the company that owns Rockstar Games, as well as several others. Let's see. We've got a list here. They have 2K, Rockstar, Zynga.
T2 Mobiles.
Yeah.
Private Division.
With games ranging now, including Borderlands, BioShock, Civilization series, Grand Theft Auto,
Max Payne.
Mafia, Max Payne, yeah.
XCOM.
So,
Main things caught my eye was BioShock and Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, obviously. And this is one that me and Bloodaxe are eyeing because, you know, there was word that when they made the sale that there was signs that Borderlands 4 was in development. Now, of course, they just been sold and laid off people. I always hate to hear about layoffs. But so we don't know what that means for Borderlands 4 because that probably means development has halted. But it may start back up. You know what I mean? So what do you think about that, Bloodaxe?
Well, there's two things. Number one, the likelihood of a Tiny Tina's 2 coming out is probably minimal at best because no one's going to want to hang their hat on that game.
That's good.
But number two, I really do think anytime that a property is acquired by another company, either you're going to start breaking it up in small bitty pieces to get money out of it, or you're going to try to make games quickly in order to recoup some of your expenses in the acquisition of that property. Hopefully, it's the latter of the two to where we start getting better games, but being Take-Two as the acquiring company and what they've done to some of their Rockstar properties, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest with you, especially them getting rid of all the talent, which means anyone who's worked on any of the properties before, unless they go back and hire the people from Borderlands 2, the likelihood of them knowing the lore and picking it up fast and of high qualities, probably not going to happen. But I also wouldn't mind waiting, a 2 years to have a good Borderlands 4 game. Because the quality of life that we got in Borderlands 3 from Borderlands 2 was head and shoulders of quality-wise great. Story, not so much.
Well, see, and that actually does bring an interesting concept, though. Now, Flynn says Borderlands is getting long in the tooth. It needs a new direction or theme. And I somewhat agree with that. And one of the things I love about Borderlands isn't actually Borderlands itself. It is the game style. It's one of the reasons why I stuck with Tiny Tina's as long as I did. It's because of that.
Played well.
Yeah, It played well. And Borderlands has always played well. I mean, you just said that, and that's what sort of triggered me on this Bloodaxe is yes. So I would like to see maybe they do some other IPs with that style.
Man, I will tell you.
That's what I was going at is Borderlands is the apex looter shooter.
Yeah.
When you think looter shooter, you think Borderlands. It doesn't have to be a Borderlands story. If it's in this successor, the way Bloodstained was to Castlevania, I'm on board. I'm all for it, especially with the same quality of life enhancements that we've seen grow from Borderlands 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, I mean, give us a reason to play your game after the final boss. And we always say Borderlands 3, the game starts once you beat the twins. That's when the game really starts. So give us something in that same vein, and I'm on board with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was my thing. Is I played so much Borderlands 3 because it was fun. Mm-hmm. I had so much fun running, gunning, shooting, grabbing different weapons. I used to switch my loadout. Bloodaxe, man. I swap my loadout nonstop, man. You know what I'm saying? And would just run around with different loadouts having fun. The combat was fun enough to play nonstop. Mm-hmm. And
well, no, they have the genre down.
Yeah. And honestly, the story was not as important as that. I mean, it's the reason why even Remnant 2 has its particular play style down to a T to where I find myself going back and playing. And I've ran through that game until, good Lord, I'm about sick of it, but yet not because it's fun. And that's why I played Tiny Tina's because I kept hoping they would polish the turd of everything else because Tiny Tina was just Borderlands 3 in a different setting, but it was missing some of the fine tuning but the engine was the.
But
like
no, it was
said,
obvious they didn't care about Tiny Tina's Wonderland. It was just a money grab tossed out there. See what happens when the grenade goes off, type of thing.
Yeah, which is why I don't care to do more. But Borderlands 4 was like we were keeping the Borderlands 3 engine, but we're throwing in some new things to pump it up and improve on it too. It'd be a great game. They don't even have to reinvent the wheel. They just need to add more to the wheel, put an extra wheel on it, and upgrade the wheel. So my fear was that Borderlands 4, they were going to try to reinvent the wheel and screw it up. And I'm like, no, upgrade it. Sometimes you don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Flynn's throwing out all these Tiny Tina titles. But Tiny Tina Cthulhu, and that all of a sudden just images crossed my mind, and it was fucking amazing.
But like, so now the thing with Take-Two Initiative is interactive is like you said, it depends on which side of the fence they fall on. Sometimes they take over and they, like you said, they don't do anything for a long time. Sometimes they take over and they go, we need to make our money back, go make Borderlands 4. And I'm hoping that they go, we need to make our money back, go make Borderlands 4. And we'll get a 4.
And stick to the formula because it works.
That's the hope, is they go, no, go make a Borderlands 4 that makes money, is what I hope they say, yeah. That they don't go cash grab, they go make one that works. That's
Either that or you'll get not a reboot, but you'll get an updated version of 1. Now, if they redid Borderlands 1 and 2 with the game mechanics that we saw in 3, that would be worth playing. Yeah, that'd be worth playing again right there.
I'd love to replay 1 and 2. I'd love to see an update of the first Vault Hunters, but with that way better engine and all their stuff and trees updated.
I went back and actually tried to play 1 because you reminisce after a while and you're like,
it hurt, didn't it?
It did. It was rough. I was like, oh man.
Trust me, Bloodaxe made me play through 2, and it wasn't terrible, but I did not realize how much of an upgrade 3 was to 2 until I went back to 2, and I said, man,
2 words.
I didn't realize.
2 words, fast travel.
Not just fast travel, but like the smoothness of the reloads, the jumping, weapon swapping, and more importantly, that in-game Guardian tree that you started upgrading after you maxed your level out. They gave you the getting yourself up and all the stuff you could do. You know what I'm talking about, the epic level stuff. You know what I'm talking about, Clinton, when you max your level out.
The OP levels.
What?
The OP levels.
Well, no, from Borderlands 3. It was called the Guardian Tree.
Yeah.
The Guardian Tree was incredible, and I missed it so much in 2. It hurt not having my Guardian Tree. The ground pound, all those trees you activated, I missed everything in that so much. And remember, you had that stuff in Tiny Tina's Wonderland also. So I missed it in 2 because you had it. They kept it in Tiny Tina's Wonderland. They weren't stupid. They kept it. They weren't dumb. They kept it in Wonderland. So I missed it in 2 a lot. I was like, oh my God, I need that back so bad. And it hurt not having it. So
yeah, the only thing they had in Borderlands 2 was like badass ranks.
Yes, and the badass ranks didn't do crap. Comparatively, they did not. I missed it. So quality of life that was not there was missed, and having that in 1 and 2, man, we play 1 and 2. We probably even get Xeno in there, man. We'd finally run a 3-man through there and tear it up, And plus, remember, we could cross-play Borderlands. That actually cross-play worked, so we'd be able to run through there. I'd be able to finally run my Brick or Mordecai. I played both, I'll run Brick or Mordecai, man, and on 2, I played Zero, or I played the Necromancer. So, I had characters to play. So, I would love to do that, but with the updated. That'd be the first time you could do a remake. But if you said, we're remaking it, but we're running the Borderlands 3 engine, I'd be like, take my money. You win. You got it. You take my money. I'll, what I'm saying? I can't even say nothing. They get my money easy.
Interesting is a Borderlands 4, but with all the Vault Hunters available to choose any of like the 16 that you possibly could play. That would be.
That'd be beyond their capability to pull off. They could do that on a PC, but they ain't gonna be able to do that on an Xbox. That over Xbox will be able to handle that many trees and abilities. Game would be too big. I'm just being honest. I wouldn't be able to handle it. I mean, maybe the next gen, but not the current gen. 16 Vault Hunters, 3 trees each. Heck nah. Heck, that'd be a workload for a PC. That'd be like 100 gig game.
Yeah. We're hitting 100 gig games now.
The next gen Xbox could do it. The next gen Xbox.
Yeah, next gen Xbox could do it, but not the current gen. No.
I mean, Starfield was 140 gig. I think.
Man, you saw how that ran.
The Starfield wasn't fun.
There you go.
Well, no, but I'm just saying. I mean, we're hitting games in that range now. I mean, most likely the next Elder Scrolls is going to be 100 and some odd gig. You know, any massive game, you're starting to see. I mean, averaging 60 to 80 anyway right now. 100 is not too far of a stretch.
The other issue would be trying to balance that, because all those abilities, like getting all those interactions to balance would be a nightmare. And you would not be able to get all that to not break the game, because all those have to interact with the damage system. So nah, that'd be too much. It's a great idea, but it would be almost impossible to make work mechanically. But it's a beautiful concept, but oh my God, that would be wild. Now, make your own Vault Hunter would be cool. That's one that some people were asking about. But even then, that would be an interesting concept. But either way, I'd like to see a Borderlands 4. I don't want to be done with Borderlands just yet. I'm not sick of it yet. I think I got one more in me. Despite, I don't have another Tiny Tina's in me, but I got one more Borderlands in me. I could do a 4. Now, honestly, I only want about one more. I'm tired of 5s. If it ain't a fighting game, I really don't want to see a 5 of anything anymore. I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, you know what? I think 4 is about the limit on most games. Or rare few series can go past 4 with me anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why the trilogy is such a common thing, is because 3 usually is where things start teetering off. Yeah, you could probably do a 4 on a lot of these things, but 3 is the safe bet.
Yeah, 4 should be a new story. If you're doing a 4, you should at least be doing a whole new arc. Like, we're in this universe, but we're doing a whole different thing. We're way over here.
Yeah, that worked out really well for Andromeda.
Andromeda was not that different a story. They kind of were just going like, hey, look, you're not the shepherd. You're the, what would you call that time?
Oh,
almost just another word for shepherd. It's like you were Jew. They kind of were just telling an alternate version of the story. Like, look, you found a different technology in a different area, in a different ancient race. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, if you're going to do a different thing, do a whole different thing. That's where I think they messed up, is they click there. But I remember that was a one complaint I had, is that they didn't diversify the story quite enough. You know?
What do you call that?
Yeah, but you recall, the main character had a title like you had there, and it kind of, and then you meet, it's like, oh, ancient technology again, an ancient race, and there's an ancient threat. So they weren't telling.
Pathfinder.
Yeah, now you're the Pathfinder instead of the Shepherd. Yeah. And now the ancient, and it's a different ancient technology that you're finding. And, with a different ancient. I felt they should. I think that was what hurt that, is they should have diversified their story a bit.
I actually enjoyed Andromeda. Like I still think it got a raw deal with the amount of hate that it got, and because so many people hated on it, we never got our DLC, and I'm still pissed about people being dicks. Every once in a while, I mean, dude, it just comes down to like these games where the internet wants to hate. And I feel like Andromeda was one of those things where the internet just wanted to hate.
Me and Flynn have played so many first games, and we played little RPGs and stuff, and me and Kitsune, when we would go pick up an RPG, a co-op, and we would play it and go, hey, that was fun. I can't wait for the next one. And then it's dead. Like, Flynn knows what I'm talking about. It just dies. Played RPG, dies. And we're just like, heck, how many times have we started an anime and like, man, that season 1 was great.
And I guess one of my things is I enjoyed Andromeda because I hated Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3 pissed me off so much. And when I got Andromeda, it felt more like the earlier Mass Effects than it did Mass Effect 3.
What you got against red, green, and blue endings?
I didn't even get that far. Dude, it was just the whole mechanics of the system and all that just annoyed the crap out of me.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the first Mass Effect engine.
I felt it dumbed down.
I felt it dumbed down each game.
Yes,
the gameplay
it did. And then by the third one, I was, because I was late to the Mass Effect. So I played Mass Effect
Ran out of money.
I played Mass Effect 1 and 2 right when 3 got released. And so then I went immediately from playing 1 to 2 and then jumped into 3.
Oh, you went straight. Oh, so that engine, that must have been a real shock to the system to play 1 and then immediately play 2 and go, what's wrong with my gun?
That hurt. But then 2 to 3 hurt even more.
What's wrong with my gun now? Because I remember when I picked up 2, the first thing I did is I said, where do I pick my ammo type? Like, wait a minute, how do I modify my gun? I think I kept telling Flynn. I said, Flynn, how do I modify my gun? I can't modify my gun. I can't pick my ammo. I'm so confused. How do I change my ammo? I was just like, I couldn't get it.
Yeah. Because like I said, Mass Effect 3 was about to come out, so I got 1 and 2 as a combo for really cheap, and so then I played them, and I really enjoyed 1, man. By the time I got done with 1, I was like, ooh, and then I was like, okay, got to get through 2 because 3's going to be out really soon, and so I'm going through 2, and I was like, okay, they simplified some stuff, but that's fine because this allows me to speed through 2. And I'm like, okay, this is good. Oh, look, it's linking stuff that I did in 1. That's cool. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I finished it just in time for 3 to come out. Bought 3, full price, jumped into it, played it for about a day, and said, fuck this shit. I was like, I'm not doing this.
What? What's wrong? All the stuff you did in 1 and 2 showed up. You got emails. You got an email about the stuff you did. They sent you a thank you email for the stuff you did in the game.
Yes, they did. It was.
Hey, thanks for saving my dad in game 1.
Oh, it was painful. It was friggin' painful. And then the weird world management stuff, and I was like,
here's some points because you saved by. Hey, remember the weird plant that the Asari turned green? Asari you helped. Here's some points. That's the conclusion of that story.
God, it was miserable. And so that's why when I was playing Andromeda, I was like, oh, it's not 3.
But how do you know that Andromeda 2 was not going to be Mass Effect 2? And Andromeda 3 wasn't going to be Mass Effect 3? Maybe you avoided pain.
Anyways.
So, if you happen to get fired during the acquisition of Gearbox, yes, I'm just going to dive right back into that. And you happen to be a technical artist, I believe, is the word. Is that the title?
I think so. Let's see.
The position technical artist?
Fire, I said. Let's see. Because
look to the top. Technical artist.
Yeah.
Then Larian Studios says they're an idiot for firing you.
Yeah. So anyway, Larian has basically said
Go to the title.
that the technical artist, well, it says right here. I'll give you an example. I heard a group of technical artists being fired. I can tell you, I'm a developer. If you fire your technical artist, you're an idiot because they define your entire pipeline, which is going to define your cost of your assets. They can define so many things, and they know your games, especially if the senior ones. It really doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we're hiring them to come to work for us.
So to proper segue, this is the Larian Studios president talking about how a lot of gaming companies are apparently firing during their doing firings. You know about all these let-offs. Well, amongst the people they're firing their technical artists. Apparently, that is a very difficult position to fill. Larian Studios, as you know, is the people who did Baldur's Gate 3. And getting them, especially with at least 5 years of experience or more, is insanely difficult. So firing these people is a bad move. Like, you will have trouble filling this position with an experienced individual. So he is literally mocking, people doing this and saying, I'm hiring these people.
And one of the reasons why they're doing this, too, is, as this mentions here at the bottom a little bit, it says Larian was thinking about Baldur's Gate 4, but D&D Fifth Ed wouldn't work with all these ideas of new combat they wanted to try. So now, if you're grabbing people who know this game, like that, know the systems like that, and you're wanting to experiment with new systems, those are the people you want. So I'm actually really curious to see what's going to be coming out of Larian Studios.
I'm just amused because when he posted this, immediately under him, several people in that field, high ranking, over company, people well versed in that field were commenting saying, "No, this is crazy." Yeah, if these individuals were saying, "I've had hell filling these jobs. These are high demand jobs that are difficult to fill with somebody that has any experience." So it's just funny that all of these terminations that companies are doing, it goes into our topic of how companies seem to be trying to throw their money away, which will segue into the Microsoft thing of just, they don't seem to want to succeed. They're just throwing themselves under the bus. And he's going I don't know what's going on, man. You're firing people that you actually are not going to be able to replace with it. Yeah, see there, he's talking about, nobody who's ever been, involved in these technical fields would fire a experienced technical artist because it's an insanely difficult job to replace, And you see more and more people in that field saying that it's a difficult job to fill. So they're supporting his statement that this is not a difficult job.
But yeah.
Because see, this person says, "Oh, what is this job? Why is it so hard to fill?" And people are explaining it. They're going, this is a critical field, and getting an experienced person is extraordinarily difficult. So these people are now firing people who are vital. So boom. That's where we're at now. Where they're now starting to fire big vital parts of the company. And you'd have to go, what could possibly be dumber than that? What could be a dumber thing to do to your business? Why, what could possibly be? What could be dumber? Bloodaxe, what could be dumber?
So lots of people have been...
Insult your customers.
Oh, my. Who would do that?
Lots of people have been upset at Microsoft due to this latest help customers feel seen thing. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to prefix this a little bit with a lot of the controversy is that it has been said that this is a mandate by Xbox. Now, Xbox did come out and say, this is not a mandate. It was just something we put together as a suggestion, as possible reasons for devs to understand why maybe they don't get certain views from their customers, or certain customers don't buy their games, and so we threw this out there.
Yeah, I mean, it is to the devs we own and we pay their bills and we buy that we sent this to our devs that we own, that we kind of sent this to.
Well, my biggest part is this first part, the business impact. So first off, I mean, they sort of make everything very U.S. centric, which is a dangerous road to travel, especially for a company that supposedly is trying to enter the Japanese market, and so it seems a little counterproductive here. But there's 80% of media consumed by the world is created in the U.S. And yet, most media, including video games, doesn't contain characters that contain and align to the broad customer. Research shows that players prefer to play characters that look like them and are more likely to purchase and play experience where they align to the character's identity. Now, okay, for one, you just undid all this stuff you said here, because we know what the majority is. So by what they just said there, you should market to the majority.
which means that you should market mostly to Asians, Caucasians, males, heterosexuals. Sorry, that's the truth. That's the majority.
Now,
In that order, Asians, heterosexuals, and males, and then Caucasians.
Yeah. Which honestly,
basically in that rough order.
generally, yes.
Because the largest gaming base is Asians, and then it's Caucasians for race. And the largest gender is males, and the largest sexual preference is heterosexual. So you just shot diversity in the foot.
Now, it says 57% of players in the broader gaming market didn't play certain games because the games weren't made for them. Well, of course.
Yeah. So you didn't make it
if you
for
ask
straight
me,
people?
Well, no. If you ask me why I didn't play the cupcake cooking simulation, because that game's not made for me. I'm not about cupcakes. Obviously, people don't play games that they don't feel were made for them. That's not a bad thing, though.
I'm not going to play a
Not
Barbie
every
game.
should be made for the same people.
Mm-hmm. I don't play Barbie games. I'm not going to play a Barbie game. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to play My Little Pony. Bloodaxe is not going to play My Little Pony.
Now, this says 53% of developers felt diversity in storytelling should be a priority, and it was ranked as the third most important factor in industry growth.
Yeah, but who cares what the devs think?
Honestly, I just say the devs are wrong, or probably it's not really 53%, but
who cares what the devs think? That doesn't have anything to do with the market.
Yeah, true.
Let's
Also,
be blunt, man. It doesn't matter what the devs think.
You worry about your customer base more than what your devs think. But I don't know. That feels a bit weird. 41% of retail customers have shifted, consumers have shifted 10% or more of their business away from brands that do not reflect their value in diversity and inclusion. Now, here's the thing.
That's only 10%. That's almost nothing.
Also, it says do not reflect their value in diversity and inclusion. That doesn't, which way?
Also, 10% is minuscule. 41% have shifted 10%. Now, 41% and then 10% is like 4%, isn't it? Which means nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So looking at this by their own numbers, we can knock out the devs because nobody cares what they think. I'm sorry, but that has no effect on if you're going to make money. It doesn't. What the devs think does not affect if the game is going to succeed. I'm sorry, it does not. 41% of retail consumers shifting 10% of that, which is 1 in 10 of their purchase, and only 41% of them doing that, is minuscule. Yeah. So that means that the only thing that matters...
And on top of that, don't forget that the reflect their value in diversity and inclusion, we don't know which way.
57% of players is roughly only a little around half of them actually bothering to care about if it was made for them or not, which is still itself. And also, honestly, I thought that'd be more. So the biggest number here is 80% of the media by the world is created in the U.S. And there you go. And then, like I said, we know what the largest thing is. So basically, if you go down to the questions, consider literally these questions are how to lose money, because those questions are asking questions that don't cater to what your numbers are literally saying up there, because the 80% you're referencing don't want any of that. We all know that, because we both know that Asian cultures do not prescribe to those ideals. We know that the majority of heterosexual cultures do not prescribe to that. Majority of male culture does not prescribe to that. Majority of Caucasian culture does not prescribe to that, because most of that is anti-Caucasian. I'm sorry, I'm not playing this game, just being honest. So these questions are bad business. You're literally telling your devs to do something that's anti of the numbers you're putting out. This is bad business. I'm not putting any political objectives. I'm just saying it's bad business by your numbers. You should have at least lied about your numbers. That's all I'm saying. Like you should have at least lied about your numbers. Don't put out 80% and then turn around and ask questions that counter it. Am I wrong? Like, why would you put numbers here and then put questions here that you're aiming at the 20%? According to this, you're aiming at the 20% and not the 80%.
Well, no,
I'm calling it. I'm tired of telling stories.
I mean,
man.
your 80 is a non-essential number. The 80 is just saying that 80% of games are of consumed media is made in the U.S. That's what the 80 is.
Well, we know what the majority of the market is, though, because the most games are not us. It's not Americans. We're not the biggest market. It's Asian market. It's the biggest gaming market by far. It's by far. Everybody knows that. You go look it up. We're not the biggest game market. Well, it is Asian.
I mean, I honestly question I somewhat question the statistic of 80% of consumed media is made in the U.S. Like, I'm wondering what exactly. Like, are they counting like TikToks and?
But it must be because video games. I know we're not the biggest video game consumer. I'm talking about. Let me correct that. Video games. We're not the largest video game consumer. I know we're not the largest video game consumer. Which means that's also throwing out a number to throw people off because Microsoft is talking about, because they're talking about video games, but they're throwing out media numbers, which is a little, Bloodaxe, we talked about that trick where you use fudge numbers to obfuscate the truth. Because you're talking about video games, but you're going to throw out a media number. I hate that. I really hate when companies do those little petty tricks to try to fool people. Because, like, I noticed that you're right. They're saying media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're saying media and not video game in particular. That's actually a good catch.
So, I mean, that was probably my biggest problem with that is it was very.
We've got a huge YouTube presence. I know we do a lot of streaming and media in YouTube. We're pretty big there.
Let's see, worldwide exports of video game consoles and related, the 5 biggest sellers of exported video games are mainland China, Japan, Vietnam, Germany, and the United States of America collectively. The cohort of major technology suppliers generated are 4/5, 81% of exported video games. So 81% are between those.
Among continents, suppliers in Asia sold the highest dollar worth of exported video games during 2022. At 78.4 of the global total. Boom.
In second place was European exports at 16%, while another 5% of world shipments of video games originated from providers.
78% of the video games are Asia. Bam. So, as I stated, it's friggin' Asia. So, the market's Asia.
Yeah, now we have 20% of video gaming hardware.
They're 21% and we're 19%, which are still the largest. But that's the hardware, though. So, like I said, the games, they're all the market, man. Look there. Top video game exports, 60% China, 7% Japan. Crap, we're way down at number 5. So, dude, we're not it. We're not even close. It's frigging Asia. It's just China and Japan. So, boom, you want to go to your market? Then everybody needs to be Asian. How about that? It ain't white or black. Now what? Serve. Balls in your court.
Top 3 right there, all Asian.
Balls in your court, Microsoft. Now what? Let's play this game for real. Because I don't care. Because guess what? I'm not a racist. I'll play Asians.
But 80% of media consumed by the world is created in the U.S.
Media, probably, but not video games.
Yeah. I mean, our Hollywood is definitely.
Yeah, movies? Shoot, probably. See,
music. We're big in the music industry, which is also media.
That's the mistreat. That's the trick. They said media to lie to their devs, to make them think that they're more important than they are, when in reality they're like 6-7%. It's obfuscation because they want to fool them and make them think they're making a difference.
Now we'll say there's a trick to our statistic that we have right there as well. This is exports. Does not count all the media video games consumed, U.S. video consumed internally. I can only grab the data I can find. True. But yeah, there are other things, but it's obviously widely inaccurate numbers, are misguiding numbers.
But I mean, like you said, but the biggest thing is just that and basically if you read it, it goes into all these things about all these things about how you should represent your characters. It talks about representing female characters. It has the female characters need to be this level of competency versus male characters. Male characters have to show all these emotions and sadness and vulnerability. So your male characters aren't allowed to be strong. They have to also be vulnerable. They have to be sad and joy. No, female characters don't. Female characters don't have to show vulnerability or sadness, but male characters do.
When you watch your screen time of different genders.
Yeah, they have to have the equal screen time, which limits your story dramatically. Because imagine a story where no female character is allowed to have less screen time than a male. They can't be less competent. And on top of that, all the male characters have to have all these emotions and vulnerabilities. Well, then every game has the same story. You literally can't have different stories. So, honestly, at that point, you might as well just not have male characters. You just really might not. You might as well just not have male characters because you can't even tell a proper story anymore. You just can only tell one story. Every game becomes the same story. So, it's like, this is very limiting. And saying that it's a suggestion when you're the boss, yeah, when your boss comes by and gives you a list of things that he says you should probably do that.
Well, when a company can deny your game on their system, on their platform,
and chooses your budget,
it definitely could sway you. But I hate playing the statistics game because statistics say what you want them to say. Mm-hmm. And that's a dangerous game to play.
And that's the main thing, man. And I'm not trying to be a fire starter here. It's just like I said, it's annoying because I don't like it when you split us up like this. That's my problem. Can't we just all be the customer and you just make a game for your customers? Like, let me tell you a little something, and we'll jump to whatever we got left.
This is the last time.
Oh, you know where any form of mistreatment starts? It's when you start separating people into groups. That's where it starts. When you look at somebody and you start saying, let's separate people by race and gender, by sexual preference, by age, by political belief, that's when you're going to start to discriminate. Stop looking at everything that way in the first place, and you'll stop doing it as often. Yeah. And that's what I'm concerned about, is that when you look at a game and instead of going, is this a good story, you're worried about screen time? I don't watch anything and worry about screen time. I literally forget about the concept of screen time until somebody brings it up. But like they're literally worried about the screen time of each character.
Yeah, I don't think about gender and all that stuff usually either when I'm playing, because it's just like, all right, I got my character. This is a world. This isn't Earth. This isn't even. But when things start getting forced down your throat and it's like, yes, you must. That's dumb. Yes, you should cater to your audience.
No, dude, it's Asia. There you go. Gamers by region. Look how big Asia is. Holy crap. If you can find that, god dog. I pulled up gamer demographics, man, and Asia is massive. America's third place. I found a flow chart, and man, it is like 5 times the size of frigging America. So no, even gamers by region, Asia is like at least 3 times larger than America. But no, yeah, like you said, man, you try not to think about it. There it is. So, and what's worse is, like I said, is that when you start to pull facts, and I'm not doing this to even start anything, it's just, here's what happens when you do this. We lose. That's what happens is you lose. So this is what happens. You don't even always win this.
Well, especially when you're trying to get into that 1.48 billion. I mean, Microsoft has literally kept saying they want to get in. Why do they want to get into Japan and other, Asian countries? That's why. Because there's 1.48 billion gamers that will increase their market and make them money. When you pull shit like they're doing there, you're not getting into that
and let me tell you why I do this. You guys think I'm probably the bad guy, but I'm actually the hero because I'm trying to help. Because here's what happens when you start talking like that. Scroll up and show this chart. What this chart shows is that if you keep separating people and then you say we need to target based on numbers, then you do marginalize the minority. You marginalize LGBTQ. You marginalize those small groups because they're not large enough to give anybody a reason to care about them. So don't do that because then somebody's going to say, well, actually, we shouldn't because there's not enough. So stop separating them out. What did I just say? When you separate someone out, you make them able to be targeted. Treat them as a part of the whole so that they can be treated properly like everyone else. Stop isolating people.
Well, I mean, it's similar to what Flynn's talking about here in the comments. He's talking about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. He didn't have any kind of BS. He says, I chose the woman just to see what it was different. I enjoyed it. Both characters could be played however you wanted, heterosexual, homosexual, bi, whatever. And you know what? RPG games have been doing this for a long time. You could do that with the old Dragon Age games, and I mean, the choices have been there.
And that's what I think they need to keep doing. Keep giving people choices. Stop removing choices, though. Don't make me or Bloodaxe have to play a gay character. Give us the choice. If you do that, you allow the inclusion and representation without forcing me or Bloodaxe or someone else to not buy a game, and thus that person to not be represented because the game doesn't make money, and now the developer won't include them in the next game.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I've seen, and I would love to see more details pulled, but I've seen these pulled before when they've had the options of male and female characters. Usually it's about 50-50 on what people play. Now, even though most of the demographic that plays a lot of these games, I think, is highly male-oriented, playing a female or a male character is usually about 50-50 when given the option. Now, we also know they could track these games that allow for heterosexual, homosexual, and bi gameplay and show you the statistics of how many chose what route. But I'm pretty sure they're probably afraid to.
They don't need to. Just leave it as an option. I have no problem with every game having at least one optional character.
Well, no,
of that nature.
Dude, I'm very pro choices when it comes to my games. I like to have it's one of the reasons why, my biggest thing I always say on here, just give me a character creator. Let me create the character I want.
Or even if you got preset characters, feel free to include that character in the game. I have no problem with that. But when you remove choice, you force me to have to make a decision. And when I make that decision, you also force the devs or whoever made the game, if that game loses money, to make a decision. Because I'm probably not going to buy it if I'm forced to, because I don't like to be forced. If I don't have a choice, just like anyone else, I'm going to say no. And when I say no and the game doesn't make money, the dev has to go, we can't. Because here's the problem. I'm worried the dev's going to go, instead of going, next time we need to give a choice, he's going to go, next time, don't put that in the game at all. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm scared of. For you, I'm scared they're going to go, none of that in the game at all. And now no one has a choice.
I mean, our boy Damien, who does some gaming videos, has done some on our channel. He has his own channel, Damien Fleece, that's tied to ours somewhat. He usually plays female characters.
Oh,
he prefers
100%.
to play female characters.
He doesn't play male characters really at all.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why the option's there, is so you get to choose. Mm-hmm. Usually, like Michael says there is no difference, because for one, honestly, it's harder to program a difference. Just, it's just an option.
They don't need to play different. Why do they need to play
Yeah.
different? I don't care if they play different. They don't need to play different to me either. Just let them play. I mean, I don't feel there needs to be a play difference either. My whole thing is that I want there to be representation in games, but I want the representation to be also a choice. Robbing people of choice forces decisions. And when you force a decision, you create a divide. And when you create a divide, you separate people. There have been many games I've seen that looked interesting, but I did not play them because the people that made it were adamant you must play a LGBTQT character. And I was like, no. So I did not get to enjoy it. Now,
this is for somebody who likes playing robots.
I'll play gender neutral all day. No, I'll play gender neutral all day. You know I will. I'll play a robot. I'll play alien, a monster, a slime creature. I have no concern about playing gender neutral. But no, and the reason being is because no more would I want to force an LGBTQ person to play a straight character. I wouldn't do that to them, so you can't do that to me.
Well,
it's the same standard.
Not really even big into those things being in my video games because it's not what I play a video game for. I'm not playing it for romance. I'm not playing
Honestly,
it
I don't care about romance
for sexuality or anything
I've
like
already
that.
missed a romance round in Dragon's Dogma. I don't even care.
I'm more play a video game because I want world building, adventure, stuff like that.
Like one of the characters keeps freaking blushing at me, and I'm just like, they're like, there's a romance round for her, and I did the quest and skipped it because I'm like, I'm here to kill dragons.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a grown man. I got kids. I ain't worried about that. They ain't gonna lie. Like, I don't need digital false romance. So honestly, I'm not in that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But my key point is that it's the lack of choice is what bothers me, not the nature of it. It's the lack of choice.
Yeah.
I don't push anything on anyone else. I won't push on to me, but it keeps me playing a game. So
well, and that's another thing. Like Flynn brings up a good point too, with like Tomb Raider being a good video game, female main character,
awesome.
Very popular game. But if the game was released today, less people would play it because it's a female character because they're tired of it being shoved down their throat. Because of these types of mechanics, they've actually made it harder to put an option in that normally nobody would pay attention to it. But now we're very aware of it because you've shoved it in our face so much.
They've ruined it. Because there would have been, because a couple of years ago, if they put out an Alien game, me and Bloodaxe would be so pissed off if you didn't play as Ellen Ripley. Wouldn't we? We'd be like, hell, I'm playing as Ripley, right? Right, Bloodaxe?
Beat me to it.
Huh?
You gotta beat me to it.
I know. Be like, I'm playing as Ripley. I don't want to play as one of the male characters like Ripley. If I'm not playing as Ripley, I want to play as Vasquez. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to play as her. I was saying, I want to play as Rosie. I'm like, hey. Because those characters were freaking awesome. Those are my favorite characters, man. So it's a simple thing. I want to see inclusion, but I also want to see choice. And the reason why is because representation. I want to be represented too. I want you represented and me represented. So don't misinterpret our intentions. But the thing is, represent everybody. And guess what? Not everybody's sensitive. Not all men want to show weakness or emotions either. Guess what? Representation needs to be representation. Xeno ain't a sensitive guy. He don't want his character to cry. You're not representing him if his character's being sensitive. I can tell you, his soul doesn't like being sensitive. He gets on my dang nerves at times. She can't barely have a conversation with the guy. You be trying to have a normal conversation with him, I just be like, really, man?
Yeah.
See, look, this is making him uncomfortable, and me talking about how insensitive he is annoying him.
Look. Sometimes your friends get a little intoxicated. They start getting a little emotional. It's not comfortable, and I have walked away before. Yes.
There you go. And by the way, he calls him most and be like, man, you're a really good friend.
Fuck
you.
Anyway, you go. Nah, man, it's all good. All right, that's gonna wrap us up.
See how easy it is to make them uncomfortable? It went that hard. So, people are different. You can't push everybody into a cookie cutter. So, try to have a range. So, because the thing is, we're all human. We all need to come together. Let's try to do that, Microsoft. Why don't you include that? Why don't you try to actually have a range of representations? Because what I saw there, this is the closer, what I saw there was you trying to present one type of female character, one type of male character. Why don't you instead say present a range of male characters, a range of female characters?
We have
and a range of everything in between.
We have dialogue options, man. Like you can put in a sensitive response. I won't choose it. You know?
I probably will. I actually like sometimes playing a nice character. It's fun. Sometimes you want to be a nice guy.
You don't have to be sensitive to be nice.
True. You can have nice, you can have sensitive. You know what? Because sometimes it's situational. When I'm talking to children, I can be sensitive. When I'm talking about friends, I can be nice or mean. Depends, because we're toxic as heck with each other.
Yeah.
But I would never be that way with Bloodaxe. I'll be nice with Bloodaxe. I'll be sensitive with my kids or mean, depending on what they did. And I'm mean with Vito.
Well, that's why, once again, options.
Options, situational.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Well, next week we will not have a show. Me and Q are actually going to be in at CypherCon. So if you're in the Lake Charles area of Louisiana, come by, see us, hang out. Friday night we'll be doing a pub run, and then we'll be around during the weekend. Yeah, that's Saturday and Sunday. So come holler at us if you're in the area. If not, keep an eye on our social medias. Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. We'll be posting some pictures and stuff as we're out and about. And,
clubs,
if we find some interesting people, we may do some interviews. So, like I said, just keep an eye on that. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, all that good stuff on our YouTube channel so you get notifications of anything we post there. What's that?
If we don't do an interview, they're going to think that we didn't think anybody was interested.
Oh, well.
Now you put me on the spot. Now I got this walking random person like... He set a great standard. Thanks.
Yep. And I'm sticking with it.
Well, we said it was mean, didn't we?
Thanks for watching, guys.